dating Steve Harvey's 22-year-old daughter. Her name is Lori.
Yeah, they've been spotted out together a couple times since March, really.
Not just spotted. I mean, they were at a reggae festival in Miami.
If that was my daughter.
And they're hanging out with Steve Harvey and her mom and everything else like that.
To each his own. But I would feel like I failed as a father.
Right. All right.
But here's
happens.
Is it matching?
It's
I
totally
mean, it's
matching.
kind of, they're both
No,
striped
go back to the
blue.
picture. Look at that.
It's kind of matching.
So it looks like Samuel L. Jackson may have just poked the hornet's nest, causing a huge stir online that could lead to some tension between him and Steve Harvey, who's already been dealing with his own issues. Rumor has it that Jackson made some pretty harsh remarks about Harvey's parenting, and fans are absolutely running wild with it.
If I'm sitting across from the table with a dude the same age as me that's dating my daughter, I feel like I failed.
Yeah. Well.
The drama surrounding Diddy is really getting out of hand. People are now starting to question those connected to him. Recently, headlines blew up after Samuel L. Jackson, the iconic Black American actor, allegedly expressed concerns about Diddy's ties in the industry. And guess who he's reportedly pointing fingers at? Steve Harvey. If you've been following Diddy since his days in the rap game, you'd know about his past and the reasons behind his recent legal trouble. But if you've been living under a rock and don't know how Steve Harvey fits into all this, let me break it down for you. Back in 2019, rumors swirled that Diddy was romantically involved with Steve Harvey's daughter, Lori Harvey. This caused quite a stir. People couldn't believe Steve would allow his daughter to date Diddy, given his wild reputation.
Now to Sean Diddy Combs' investigation. New surveillance video shows Combs being taken into custody in a Manhattan hotel last week.
I mean, Diddy's infamous parties have been a major talking point in Hollywood. Letting his daughter be part of that world raised eyebrows about Steve's integrity and whether he cared at all. Crazy, right? That's what many people are thinking now that more information has come to light. The word on the street is that Steve allegedly sold his daughter to Diddy in exchange for personal gain. But is there any truth to this, or is it just another wild rumor flying around? But that's not all, folks. What many people are really concerned about is, what's next for Steve? Is he going to face arrest like Diddy? Have he and his daughter been involved in any of the activities Diddy has been doing? Many fans are speculating that given Diddy's reputation, he may have manipulated Steve into his schemes, or even gone as far as blackmailing him to gain leverage through his daughter. So what exactly did the Pulp Fiction star say, and how is it shaking things up for Steve Harvey's family? Samuel L. Jackson, a global icon and Hollywood heavyweight, has starred in some of the biggest blockbusters out there. His name alone can sell out theaters. But despite his fame, fans don't know much about his personal life. In fact, many don't even realize he's married with a daughter named Zoe Jackson, and that's by design. Even though Zoe grew up in the spotlight, attending red carpet events like her dad's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, Jackson has always kept her grounded and away from the media frenzy. His parenting approach seems to have worked, as Zoe has built a successful career behind the camera. But when rumors started flying about Jackson making some sharp comments about Steve Harvey's parenting, particularly concerning his daughter Lori Harvey, it got people talking. According to an anonymous source, Jackson allegedly criticized Harvey for failing to properly guide Lori, especially during her rumored relationship with Diddy back in 2019. At that time, Lori was 22 and Diddy was 49. The couple was first spotted vacationing in Cabo, Mexico, and later dining with Steve and Marjorie Harvey in Italy.
Last week. So then, these pictures, one of the photo agencies get him strolling out. This is last night, about right before midnight in Soho, in New York.
Now, whether Jackson really said this or not, the gossip is definitely making waves, especially considering the delicate nature of the situation. A lot of fans felt that the 27-year age gap between Diddy and Lori Harvey was just too much for a typical relationship. Many criticized Diddy, especially for seemingly using his connection with Lori's dad, Steve Harvey, to date his daughter. That's why, allegedly, Samuel L. Jackson believes Steve didn't raise Lori properly. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been involved with a man old enough to be her father. Of course, all of this is just speculation, since Diddy and Lori never actually confirmed the dating rumors. Diddy's son, Justin Combs, dropped some hints about a possible relationship, but nothing was made official. Despite that, some fans still think Diddy has failed as a father, whether or not Jackson actually said anything about it. But recent reports suggest that Steve might be taking orders from the bad boy CEO, and it's even affecting his own family members. That's right, these claims aren't just about Steve. They also involve his daughter. A couple of months ago, model and entrepreneur Lori Harvey chatted with E! News host Adrienne Bailon in a video interview that just dropped. In it, she mentioned that she often hears rumors about dating someone she hasn't even met in person. Although Lori has been spotted a few times with the bad boy mogul, she firmly stated that she never dated him. This revelation has left fans questioning whether Diddy is really the person we all thought he was. But back then, the media had a different story, with rumors swirling that Lori had started dating Sean Diddy Combs back in July 2019. However, fans were intrigued by the fact that Steve Harvey was known as a family man, someone who prioritized taking care of his family and keeping them closely bonded. So it came as a surprise to many when rumors surfaced about Diddy allegedly dating his daughter. Samuel L. Jackson has always been vocal about his views on family and the importance of couples sticking together for the sake of their kids. In an interview, he once shared that growing up without a father left a void in his life, and he didn't want the same for his daughter. Luckily, he married someone who shared his vision, and together they raised a strong, independent Black woman. In a recent interview, Samuel's wife, LaTanya Richardson, opened up about the importance of staying together to raise their child. She said, "In the beginning, we always said the most revolutionary thing that Black people could do was stay together, raise their children with the nucleus of having a father and a mother, since everybody likes to pretend that that's not the dynamic of the African American family, that it's just children out here being raised by women, which we know is false." She added, "In order to change that narrative, we made a decision to say we are going to stay together no matter what. We'll figure it out." Their commitment to family certainly seems to have paid off, especially when you look at their daughter Zoe, who has built a stellar reputation for herself in Hollywood. During Zoe's 39th birthday, Samuel shared a heartfelt post on Instagram, highlighting her kind and thoughtful nature. He wrote, "Your presence and persistence, lemon bars, and streaming suggestions were lockdown gifts that made the year bearable. You always made me know things were going to be all right." Fans were thrilled about the message and sent their best wishes to Zoe, cheering her on in all her endeavors. They also gave Samuel L. Jackson a lot of credit for raising such a strong, independent woman. One of those fans was Nick Cannon, who famously dated Mariah Carey, who was 14 years older than him. In an interview with DJ Vlad, Cannon was asked what he thought about Diddy dating Lori Harvey. He said he didn't have an issue with it, but added, "If Lori were my daughter, I'd feel disappointed as a dad."
And if that was my daughter.
Yeah. And they're hanging out with Steve Harvey and her mom and everything else like that.
To each his own. But I would
think
feel like
fathers,
I failed as a father.
So it seems like people in the industry knew what was going on, but still couldn't say or do anything because in the end, it was Diddy who was involved, right? Some fans think Steve Harvey didn't actually support the relationship, but felt like his hands were tied because of his longtime friendship with Diddy. Their connection goes way back to the 2000s, when Diddy was at the top of the rap game. Back then, the East Coast-West Coast feud was in full swing, and Steve tried to be the peacemaker. He even had Diddy and Snoop Dogg on the Steve Harvey Show to show some unity between the two rival camps. But recently, Suge Knight, speaking from prison on his podcast, claimed that Steve was playing both sides. He accused Harvey of pretending to want peace, while secretly bad-mouthing West Coast rappers. Suge also alleged that Harvey has always sided with Diddy, leading fans to speculate that maybe Steve is on Diddy's payroll. If there's any truth to that, it wouldn't be a stretch to think Steve couldn't stop his daughter from dating Diddy because of how much he's gained from their friendship. Some people even believe Steve might be using his daughter to repay Diddy for all the favors over the years. What's even more unsettling is that fans believe Lori has dated both a father and his son. At one point, she was rumored to be in a relationship with Diddy's son, Justin Combs. The two were spotted together at various parties and dinner dates, but they never confirmed or denied the rumors, which just fueled more speculation.
Well, her mother is 5 years older.
Recently, when the topic came up in the media, Lori denied dating either of them. She explained that the rumors were simply misunderstandings about her relationship with the Harveys and the Combs. She told Adrienne Bailon of E! News, "I've heard I dated a father and son before. Absolutely not true. I've even heard that I'm a lesbian at one point, so you know there's been a lot of different things, a lot of stories, a lot of misconceptions." Earlier in the interview, she discussed the various rumored relationships and found them pretty entertaining. She mentioned, "It's so funny because I'm so quiet. There have been so many stories made up about me. I've seen stories about me being fully in love with someone and we have this whole relationship and I'll see the guy and think, I've actually never even met him before. Lori also shared some dating advice from her dad, telling her that she was the prize. She said that means not compromising my values, my happiness, my peace, not settling for less than what I know I deserve, and not being afraid to walk away from a situation if it's no longer serving me. Looking back at Lori's life, it's hard not to notice the number of high-profile men she's been rumored to have dated: soccer stars, movie stars, you name it. She's been linked to Memphis Depay, Future, Michael B. Jordan, Justin Combs, and of course, Diddy, who is the oldest of them all. Fans who compare Lori Harvey's life to Zoe Jackson's can't help but admire the incredible job Samuel L. Jackson has done with his daughter. It's no surprise, considering the action star himself has enjoyed a solid marriage for over 4 decades. He met his wife, LaTanya, in college, and together they've built an unbreakable bond, even through the challenges they faced early on in their relationship. At the beginning of their marriage, Samuel admitted he was struggling with substance A and wasn't emotionally available for his wife and daughter. His addiction became so severe that he ended up moving from the main house to the basement, only coming upstairs occasionally to do something strange before retreating back down. "I had basically moved into the basement of our brownstone," he recalls. "I was like the troll in the basement, and every now and then I'd come upstairs and hover around to do something. I was addicted and just acting crazy." Despite how tough things got, his wife didn't walk away. She stood by him and supported him every step of the way. When asked why she didn't leave when it seemed like Samuel was giving his life to his addiction, LaTanya replied, "I couldn't do that because I felt as though God had spoken to me and said, 'Now you can't leave this young man like this. Give him some help, and then if you feel like leaving afterward, we'll talk about it.'" Today, the couple is happily raising their daughter, Zoe Jackson, and proudly producing a drama series called The Last Days of Tommy Gray. Samuel L. Jackson has done an impressive job of keeping his family together, and fans can't help but notice the stark contrast when comparing that to Steve Harvey's track record with marriage. Over the past 40 years, Harvey has been married 3 times, which is about the same length of time Samuel has enjoyed his one solid marriage. Steve's first marriage was to Marcia Harvey, and it was a low-key affair held while he was still trying to find his footing as a comedian. During those early years, Marcia was left to raise the kids mostly on her own since Steve was often out hustling to make a living. The pressure of single-handedly managing the household, combined with allegations of Steve's infidelity, led to their eventual split, with the divorce finalized in 1994. Afterward, both of them moved on and dated other people. Not much is publicly known about Marcia now, other than that she's published a few books and tends to stay out of the limelight. In contrast, just 2 years after his divorce from Marcia, Steve married Mary Shackelford. This marriage was fraught with drama and ended in divorce in 2001. Mary discovered a letter from one of Steve's mistresses, which devastated her. She even sued him for $60 million, claiming he had mistreated and manipulated her while cheating with various women. Although Mary lost that case, she gave a revealing look into life with the comedy star. Following that, Steve found love with Marjorie Elaine Harvey, who was a close friend. Marjorie herself had been married and divorced twice before. One of her ex-husbands, Jim Townsend, had a criminal background, having served time for trying to buy a large stash of drugs. He claimed Marjorie was involved in his dealings, but he struck a deal with the FBI to keep her out of it. Eventually, they raided Marjorie's business, alleging it was linked to illegal funds. By the time Jim was released from prison, Marjorie had already married Steve. Out of frustration, he even threatened to spill secrets about her, but that's a story for another day. Marjorie has a daughter named Lori Harvey from a previous relationship, making Steve her adoptive dad. Yet, fans feel that this shouldn't excuse him from neglecting her or letting her date significantly older men. Interestingly, Diddy, who has been linked to Lori, hasn't found lasting success in his relationships either. In a recent episode of The Steve Harvey Show, Steve made an effort to polish Diddy's image, portraying him as a philanthropist who's just investing in a school in Harlem. He even said, "You've got to understand when you come from these neighborhoods." Then Steve gave Diddy a chance to shine, and Diddy didn't hold back. Not stopping there, Steve continued to praise Diddy, emphasizing all the good he's done for the school. Diddy responded by thanking everyone on the show for making him look good. But it seems like Steve isn't just trying to gloss over Diddy's past actions. He might also be hiding something about his own relationship with the hip-hop mogul. Rumor has it that Steve Harvey may be attracted to men. Essie Berry, a civil rights activist known for her work with victims of injustice, has spilled some tea about Steve's alleged shady masculinity. She revealed that Steve's ex-wife, Mary, and his son discovered a secret door in their house that had a digital lock. One day, while Steve was out of town, Mary, his niece, and his son managed to crack the code. When they got inside, Mary found a big desk with Vaseline in the drawer, and to top it off, there were photos of men displayed on the computer screen. Berry recently dropped a huge revelation, claiming that Steve might have had a romantic relationship with Bill Cosby. Just the thought of Steve associating with someone like Bill definitely raises some eyebrows. We all know Bill has a pretty questionable past, but believe me, it runs much deeper than you might imagine. Brace yourself. Bill's career took a serious hit when he got tangled up in a massive web of allegations. Over 60 women have come forward accusing him of misconduct. Despite all the evidence piling up against him, Steve Harvey was one of the few who stood by Bill's side. And it gets even wilder. Steve didn't just offer quiet support. He was out there publicly defending Bill during interviews and wherever else he could. Can you believe that? It takes some serious guts to back a guy who's facing such serious accusations. Most people would shy away from being linked to someone so controversial, but not Steve. He stood firmly behind Cosby, seemingly unconcerned about how this could impact his own reputation and career. It's pretty striking to see Steve Harvey so committed to supporting a comedian who's in such hot water. This whole thing has stirred up a lot of talk about Steve and Bill's relationship. People are definitely raising their eyebrows at Steve's unwavering loyalty to a disgraced comedian. And it's backing up what Essie Berry originally said about their alleged romance. Essie shared that Steve's ex-wife, Mary, reached out to her for help during their messy divorce, and things got pretty revealing. Mary apparently told Essie about a night she went to Bill Cosby's house to meet his wife. But she was shocked to find Steve there too, having dinner with Bill and his wife. Eventually, Mary joined them, but she noticed Steve was getting pretty close with Bill's wife, pouring her drinks and having a good time. Then, according to Mary, things got weird. Steve took Bill's wife to the bedroom after making her a drink, and that's when Mary decided she had enough and left. She believes Steve might have put something in the drink, but not because he was interested in Bill's wife. No, he apparently wanted some alone time with Bill himself. When Steve finally got home hours later, Mary noticed he had this strange smell on him, the same scent she had noticed on Bill before. When she asked Steve about it, he gave her a really odd answer. Given the evidence and revelations from his own ex-wife, people are raising concerns about what kind of man Steve really is. Is he truly the family man we all thought he was? The one who used to host comedy shows and spoke highly of family values? For many fans, it doesn't seem that way, especially since there have always been wild speculations about Diddy's parties and activities in the industry. It raises the question, is it really possible for Steve not to know what his daughter is getting into, or did he allow it with his approval? You see, last year, Cassie took a bold step and sued Diddy, claiming he mistreated her by forcing her to sleep with other men while he watched, among other controlling and inhumane behaviors. Her lawsuit really opened people's eyes to the kind of partner Diddy had been. At first, Diddy denied these allegations, but eventually he settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. What he probably didn't expect was that Cassie's brave move inspired 4 other women to come forward with similar complaints against him. This time, Diddy decided not to settle, letting the cases run their course in court. It's unclear what the outcome will be, but even if Diddy is found innocent, his reputation could take a serious hit. However, that's not what's worrying most people. Fans are concerned that Lori might have experienced similar treatment as these other women and could feel too shy or scared to speak out about it. It took Cassie about 5 years after her breakup to find the courage to expose Diddy, and considering that the CEO of Bad Boy Entertainment holds a lot of power, it's understandable why Lori might feel trapped. There are whispers suggesting that Samuel L. Jackson believes Steve Harvey has let Lori down as a father. If he had handled things differently, perhaps Lori wouldn't have ended up in a relationship with a man who's old enough to be her dad. Right now, Diddy has a lot on his plate, facing serious accusations that could land him in jail for up to 15 years. He just got arrested, and many people are wondering if further truths will come to light regarding Steve Harvey and Lori. Will they be held accountable for their connections to Diddy as well? Let us know what you think of this in the comments below. Thanks for watching.